All right, so first some fun crab facts. I'm gonna use my bronze crab right here as an example of what's going on. But if you look at the anatomy of this one, it looks like a juvenile female called Sally. So, or she crab. This thing, I eyed it in a window downtown Charleston for like almost a year, I think. I paid too much money for it, but it sits up on top of one of my shelves. Anyways, so just so you know, a male blue crab is called a Jimmy, and a female that is not mature yet, so juvenile, is a Sally or a she crab. Once they molt and they become women, they are Sooks. I don't know where that name came from, but that's what they're called. They're called Sooks. So they all have an apron. So they all wear little aprons. And the males look like you would think they would look like, okay? So they go like this and then come down. Okay, all right, so the juvenile females, they have an apron that is shaped like this, like you would think, okay? All right, so the Sooks, they're mature females. So I guess it's like the equivalent of like a mature adult female. So just rounder, right? She's childbearing age, so she's a little rounder. So that's how you can tell. And so the juveniles, their aprons don't open. They have like chastity belts on, okay? So the ones that are sexually mature, those aprons open up, and that's how they reproduce, okay? So the women like it salty, okay? They like to stay out near the salt water, so they're always living that salt life over this way. And the boys like more brackish water, so they're like up in the creeks hanging out up that way. So anywho, so it's pretty cool. They're kind of doing their own thing. The Jimmies have blue claws, and the Sallys and the Sooks have like painted nails, basically. So they have red on their claws, just like people. This whole thing is like a human story. So anywho, crabs are invertebrates, right? So they don't have a backbone. They grow, obviously, but when they do that, they have to get rid of the shell that they have, right? So they're gonna molt. It's kind of gross, but it takes a lot of energy to do that, like a lot of energy. And they do it several times throughout their life. Males do a little bit more than females. Males are gonna continue to grow. They're just gonna keep doing their thing. They're gonna be macho and like keep shedding and growing and beefing up, and like the women are like, no, I'm gonna do it one time. I'm just gonna do it one time to catch my man, and then I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. And that's what they do. They mate one time in their whole life. One time. All right, so what happens is they are going about their business, and they're like molting. And the younger they are, the more they molt, right? And then when they get older, it takes more energy, and it's just not as much fun, so they don't do it as much. Not that that's not a biological reason, but that's what's going on. So anywho, let's talk about the girls for a minute. So when they are ready to become Sooks, they know, right? So they've got like these pheromones, and they're like, this is it. This is my last molt before I'm a woman. I am ready to go. So they put their pheromones out into the water, and they're just like, hey guys, I'm ready. What's going on? And then it attracts the males, right? And the males are like, okay, let's do this. And so they start putting their pheromones in the water, right? And they will like stand up on their legs, and they will put their claws out, and they're like, what's up? What's going on? And she doesn't pay attention. They're like, oh, let me try again. And then they like flick their flippers in the water, like flick the sand and everything. They do this whole dance, right? And if the ladies see it and they like it, they're like waving their red claws around, right? They're painted nails. They're just waving around. So they're like, yeah, come on, let's do it. So anywho, they all get together, okay? So when crabs molt, they lose their shell, right? And so they become soft shell crabs. So they are not a different species of crab. It's actually the same species. They just have a soft shell. And so it takes a couple days for their shells to harden. And so they're very vulnerable to predators and things like that. So what happens is the male picks his juvenile female that's about to become a sook, and he's like, oh, this one's mine, this one's mine. And so he will pick her up and carry her around for like 7 days. Something like somewhere around there. Days. He is carrying this crab around until she's ready. And then she is finally gonna like start to molt. And so what he does is he will get on top of her and like put a cage around her so nothing can mess with her. So she'll molt in peace and do her thing, and she'll be a soft shell crab. And that's the only time that she can mate, is after that. When she goes from having an apron like this to like this, he's like, yes, this is mine. So they're gonna mate, right? So he has like 2 things, right? And she has 2 holes. And what they do is they link up, and he just pumps a bunch of sperm into these holes, right? It's essentially a sperm bank. She's like, that was cool. Thanks, appreciate it. Carry me around for 2 more days. Let me feel like a queen. And then I'm out of here. I'm gonna go back to the salt water. And just leaves him. Super fun. So she does that. So she's going back to the salt life. She's like, oh, I'm ready to do this thing. I want babies. So she's gonna become basically she's gonna create a sponge of roe, and it's like an orange sponge is what it looks like, and it's a bunch of eggs. And then she's just gonna like take a little bit of the sperm, and she's just gonna fertilize it herself. She's gonna just put it all out into the water, and it's just gonna continue to do it. Like, I don't know, like 18 times. Depends on how long they live. Could be 2 years. I don't know. So, I mean, up to 18 times maybe over the course of those years. And she's going to keep pulling from that sperm that she's held on to, and it stays with her as long as she's alive. And then she just keeps like spawning into the water, doing her thing. Oh man, makes me remember the days when we used to eat real she crab soup. It's delicious stuff. That sponge crab in it. Anyways, so it is a whole production, and super cool, and I'm super nerdy for knowing all this stuff, but it's kind of like super interesting, right? One time, and then she won't molt anymore because it's just too much work, and she's got to focus on making babies, and she doesn't really care about getting any bigger. So I don't know, it's kind of an interesting concept, and I think I can relate to this story in a lot of ways. You know, blue crabs are awesome. I am obsessed. So, anywho, if you like my story, I guess you can follow me for some more. I don't know if we'll have more biology updates, but maybe we will.